It's another Sunday afternoon, and we're here again on the platform. Together we rise, building our nation. We're definitely gonna be featuring one of the most interesting sports advocate, coach, and I say a talent scout for Jamaica, wider Caribbean, and a man who is true to his word. With me is no other than Mike Mercy Olivier. Also in the studio is no other than Dennis Blake, great Olympian and one that is recognized globally also for his athletic ability. And with us is his coach, which is Mike Ollivierre.
Exactly.
And for me, everybody know me, Ian Thomas. But what we're saying this afternoon, without such a man, Mike Ollivierre, so many of us would have missed our calling. And that is included myself, Dennis. But
Yes.
first, before we tell you a little about our story, we just want to welcome Mr. Mike Ollivierre to the platform. Real talk with Dennis and Ian, and a real talk, real money. But today's real talk.
Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be linking up you guys again,
Yes. Happy to have you,
And I
coach.
hope we have a eventful night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome. Welcome, coach. Happy to see you, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. You all bring back great memories to me, man. Trust me. You know.
Yeah.
All right, coach. So, as you on, I just
All
want you
right.
to
So
just
I'm going to start off. Um, it's always good to start at the beginning, right? How did your journey in athletics and coaching begin? Tell us a
Well, I
little.
mean, I was from high school. School I went to called St. Vincent Boys Grammar School. I was in a house called Miller House, which was like a family. So they got me. I was the only young guy they had there, so they had me doing everything. So I developed this little skill, and sports has always been part of my life, man. From the coaching aspect of it, I've been coaching. I've been helping the younger ones in my school, and then when I went to university, I joined this club in Barbados called UAC. I picked up a lot from a coach called Frank Blackman, and then I just started to help people, and then I did my courses, IWF then courses, and I arrived in Jamaica with some qualification.
Hmm. So, which sports did you play? Or
Well,
did you participate in?
I'll be frank with you, I thought I would have been replacing landscapes as a Western leg spinner. I was a leg spinner from I played primary school cricket. I was pretty good in school, but when I went to Cave Hill, cricket is not as prominent as it is now. So, but then I played serious football, and I did track as my main sport actually after a while. Yep.
Okay, so we know. So would you say that sports is what really push you to become a mentor? Um,
Well, you see, while I was in school, I was a pretty good, top of the line sportsman at the St. Vincent level. But I just didn't have anybody to guide me outside of St. Vincent. And that's one of the reasons really why I decided to go into coaching, because I know a lot of kids out there wouldn't have opportunities if people not don't commit themselves to helping them. And it just grew, and it's part of my life now. I don't know anything about like retirement or stop coaching. I never thought about those things.
yeah, do you want to jump in?
no, I think it's the perfect time for me to jump in, coach. Because as you mentioned, you basically go out of your way, I would say. Because I hear some stories, some people all over in St. Thomas, St. Mary, you go and
St. Anne.
you yeah, you find these athletes, and that show how serious you are about in terms of uplifting and empowering you through the sport. And I say, this topic is what basically would have happened to me or Dennis if it wasn't for someone like you. And I share my story. I remember I used to run in at primary all age level, and I was pretty good, at running. But if it wasn't for you who spoke with the coach of Rosal All Age, and you say, guess what? We want this guy down by States. I was in the hills shooting birds. and I got a call that Mike Ollivierre needed to come as States, and I had to go do an exam. So I had to go take photos and so forth. So I want to know, where do you get this drive to reach out to young men and young women across Jamaica? You're not Jamaican, we know that, as you have mentioned, but yet still you have such a passion for these young kids.
Well,
Mm.
the Jamaica and state situation in particular. Well, when I came to Jamaica, I was supposed to be like the sports master of the school. I was coaching the Costa Cup team with the first year. I had good players, but we just didn't pass the first round. So I decided to, at that time, there were two young coaches on the rise, Wendell Dongswell, who we had to make a space for at state so that he could function as a coach because we needed a real female teacher, but we needed Donzel too. So Donzel played the role of a female teacher in terms of the responsibility, and at the same time, Junior Bent was just establishing himself as a coach. So we had responsibilities for each sport, and we cooperated because Junior was part an athlete and let me know. Donzel the same way, and I was part of football. So I think the cooperation that we had there helped to a great extent. But I think the most pivotal point for me as a coach in terms of if you may call it success, when I came to Jamaica, I wanted to make an immediate impact, not just for me, but for my school. And the two areas that I saw that were weak were the hurdles and middle distance. So I went to Mr. Don Pottinger and I told him what I had in mind. And at that time I had a little problem with the bursar. He said, no, 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 no. Give him what he want. Give him. And the support I got from John Pottinger, like when we'd go out, like he would say to me, this is for the boy them to eat. This is emergency money. And this is for going in the pocket. So the support I got from John Pottinger really piloted me to great heights. And in addition to that, right in my home, my greatest support was there. Boom.
Mm.
Dennis, I don't know if you want to share a little of your story, how you got to States. I know you started at Junction, but just give how he have impacted your life.
Um, all right. So first, I was supposed to go to Stets to take an exam. I when I went home and looked in my mom's purse, she only had like 55 cents. So
Wow.
I wasn't able to leave that morning with the team to attend Stets to take the exam. And I remember the principal said after the kids left, they couldn't believe that I wasn't on the team going to Stets to take that exam. And the principal, I passed the gate, and the principal saw me and called me and asked me why didn't I come, and I told him that I have no money. And he said I should have come. He would have paid for me to go down there and take the exam. So I ended up going to Junction Secondary School at that time, now BB Cook High School. I remember competing for Stets. I think it was called Mutual Games. So I used to participate in mutual games, and I got the opportunity again, Mr. Olivier. Thank you for that. Mr. Olivier drove to my house on a Sunday evening and said, "You need." This is after many, many tries. Like everybody else getting scholarship and leaving. I was one of the fastest quarter milers, yet I wasn't getting a scholarship. Everybody else, gets scholarship and on their way to the United States. And I remember Mr. Olivier and I was talking, and he said, "You know what? Maybe you should go to GC fast and take the exam there." So I went and took the exam. When I came back to States, he asked me how it went. I said, "I don't feel like I want to go there." And I got a job at the Bull Savannah factory, started working. But during that same process, I never stopped training. I still was training, staying in shape. And then the scholarship came. Mr. Olivier said, "The first scholarship that comes, we are going to take it." And it was after that was all the kids had left for August, September schooling. So the whole semester, I had to stay home and work. And then in January, in December, the scholarship came, and I have a very short window. So Mr. Olivier drove to my house and said, "Look, the scholarship is here. You need to be in Kingston by tomorrow." That was Sunday evening, so I had to head to Kingston. I had challenges in Kingston. Mr. Olivier can tell you, I had some challenge, but I didn't get the visa the first time, and I had to get some more money added to my I-20, and then I went
Boy.
back to the embassy, and And that in itself is a whole story. That in itself, right there, is a
Well,
whole story.
listen to me. You left out a very big part, you know. I don't know why you're laughing because we are talking about your final year at Stets. Okay? Am I right?
Yes, yes,
After your final year, but there wasn't supposed to be a final year because prior to your final year, you told me that you're going to have to leave school because you have to go and help your mother and
yeah,
you're going to work hard. And when you go work hard, you're going to save money and you're going to go and study. Say, "Eh, that can't work. This work hard thing and the salary paying and you don't have no qualification. So we work out something, right?
yeah, yeah.
So he was able to come back to school,
Yes, yes.
travel, eat, 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 and live good, and then things happen. The Lord helped us all along the way.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. And I tell you, man, um, I wouldn't change all of that experience. I mean, I had to walk from Santa Cruz to Gutters. I walked
Wow.
from Santa Cruz to Gutters when I was going through the whole process. Couldn't get a ride. I remember one particular shop. I had maybe a few dollars, and I remember stopping at the shop to buy a sweet. I think it's called sweet biscuit, the one with the cream in the middle. And
Yeah,
I
cream
walked
biscuit.
all the way. Yeah, and
But you see,
I
Ian, the thing is, it now his story is kind of stunning, right? But if you were to rank the stories of that ilk, he would rank about maybe number five because there were some real
You
desperate
know, you know,
cases.
Coach. I was gonna get to that, to ask you which one of the story at State stand out the most to you. You don't have to call name, but you know, which one stand out the most to you based on what you do. And I have to tell us
I,
about I have to tell us about your bike too, because you used to ride a bike.
like, like it's a movie on 2 hours.
Yes.
Listen to me now. If I were to, I could do a movie on the case that I can call the most stunning and unbelievable case of a male person who came into states with with, let us say, average skills in a few sports, and he was not good at any according to him. But we sent him to the cricket coach, sent him to the football coach, and he always checking me after everything done. The football coach say, the cricket coach say, Olivier, where get the boy? I say, what happened? He said, boy, him can't bat him, but nobody can out him. I said, what? I play him under 16. You know, so he go make 63 not out. Okay. The next thing now, Donzel come and ask me the same question. When we get a boy from? I said, what happened? He said, well, he had him put him behind the goal to pick up ball thing because I tell him, say, see what you could do. Next thing now, he come tell me, say, the boy, catching the ball better than the keeper. Right? And he ended up as the goalkeeper. And he was so talented that he also played midfield, defense, and striker when this is necessary. But he started off trying the pole vault. Then the high jump, long jump too, and then he said, Coach, I could try that thing there. I said, which thing? They say, the hurdle. I said, go on. But in those days, you used to hurdle over chairs. And he turned out to be one of, I would say, State's greatest product in terms of contribution and the struggle he went through because not 6 months, a couple of months, a year, and a year after he came there, his mother died.
mm,
So a multiplicity of issues, but he's one of the most, I would say, appreciative athletes I've ever worked with. Leave it like that for now. He's smiling. Wherever he is, he's smiling right now.
he's smiling right there. I
In the
know,
north, in the north of Carolina.
and I know who that is.
Yeah, man. So I
Thank
mean,
you, Coach.
it's really an honor for me to even reflect on some of these things because I mean, you might say I'm a good coach, but you people made me. If you suppose y'all never used to be committed and perform well, they would never hear about this coach. So I was just the conduit, you know.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis, Coach, you're gonna let Dennis take it away. I know Dennis have a lot of question for you. Being a member of your athletic team and everything. It basically, even after school, I know you and Dennis connect. So Dennis, take it away.
Uh,
Wow.
Okay, so I'm just gonna back up a little bit. So you talk about you were the conduit. Why you have so you have some great athletes who were very disciplined and stuff like that. I know you had to work with a lot of us, but when you look back now, I don't know if you have done a count of how many people you have helped that got scholarship from state.
91, 91. Go ahead.
So 91,
Yes, Stetson, its environs. Some people from outside of Stittsville,
right? Mm. So one of the things that we want to talk about here is that we know that mental preparation, right, is just as important as physical preparation, right? You have guided athletes, including myself, through the highly competitive ISA sports, right? Champs. How do you prepare the athletes mentally and physically for that intense
Well,
environment?
well, first of all, as you all would recall, any athlete who works with me, I sit and talk with. I talk with them first to find out a lot of things, the medical history, the family history, the everything, a little thing about them. So to me, every athlete is different. So I would some people don't have
It's frozen.
Right, Dennis, you can talk probably one of those story while coach try to get back on probably.
Okay.
So just to keep it going.
Yes. So a part of my story also involved, like I said, when I went to Stets, I had challenges. Um, while I was at Stets, again, I walked like from Santa Cruz to Gutters. I I don't know if most people who in that time probably would have remember who Mondo is. Mondo used to drive bus, and um, I had to beg him a ride to drop me up in Morningside. I was so happy that I got off before my stop. Just so happy to get the free ride. So I got off the bus before I really get to my stop. But I went to the embassy when Mr. Olivier came and give me that I-20. I went to the embassy. I was turned down on my first visit because there weren't enough money on my scholarship. So I had to call the junior college for them to add more money on my I-20 and fax it over to Pegasus Hotel where I went and pick it up. Um, During that time, uh, as a matter of fact, when I went and see the immigration officer, I asked him if I can come back and see him when I get my new increase sum on my I-20. And he said, "Oh, Mr. Blake, doesn't matter. Anyone here can take care of you. It doesn't matter." I said, "No, sir. Can I come back and see you?" And he said, "Well, Mr. Blake, when you come, anyone here can take care of you." And I said, "No, but I want to see you." He said, "Okay, then, Mr. Blake." So when I left and went to the Pegasus and pick up those facts. And I went back. God would have it that when I went back, I got him. And then when he looked, because on that I-20, the principal wrote on there, not the principal, but the coach wrote on there that if you don't get here by a certain date, which is like a 3-day window, if I don't get there by that time, school would have started and I wouldn't be able to register. And so he wrote that on the I-20. And when he looked at it, he said, um, why what took me so long? And I said, I was kind of shocked that he even asked me that question because he's the one who turned me down the first time. And I said to him, I said, I came here yesterday, you turned me down. So he talked to his boss, and his boss tell him yes. I could tell that he was shaking his head that he can give me the visa. And when I got the visa, they gave us a blue piece of paper indicating that you must come back at 3 o'clock. At that time, all of this happening, but I don't know where the fear is coming from to travel the next day. So I had to call Mr. Olivier. I called him. I said, "Coach, I got through the visa." And he said, "Okay, don't worry. I'm going to go down in Santa Cruz and I'm going to book your flight." And, he went to Santa Cruz, booked my flight. And then I said, "Okay, when I went back to get the visa, my passport, I had to find my way downtown So when I went downtown, I needed to take a bus that is going Highway Mandeville. And the guys them trick me. They tell me they're going Highway Mandeville, but yet they go through Maypen. And that now put, a longer time for me to get through Maypen. And I started thinking, how am I going to get home to be able to get to Miss Alvey? Because Miss Alvey said he's going to come and pick me up and I could stay by him. Um, when I get to Mandeville, I went and checked my brother for some money. He gave me some money. I went back out in the night in Mandeville, no taxi going south. I said, "Oh man, how am I going to get home?" But then I remember Miss Olivier is going to come and get me. So I said, "All right, if I get to Gutters and he's coming up, he will see me, and then he will give me a ride and take me home, right?" So that's what I did. I get to Gutters. I got to Gutters. I get a ride from someone that was heading to Southfield, dropped me off for the True Gate, and then I rushed down. I saw my friend. I asked him to give me a ride on the bike. I didn't get a chance to tell anyone I was leaving, except those people that I saw at the shop in Morningside, you know. And I remember this guy, man. When I showed him what the visa was, I told him I'm leaving the next day. He said, "Can I see the visa?" And I said, "Yes." So I showed him the visa, and he said, "This is what they all trying to get." I said, "Yeah, this is what." He said, "Man, I don't have any money." So he's pushed his hand in his pocket and he take out $50. He said, "This is all I have, man. Here it is." And he gave me that $50. And up to today, man, I have tell that guy thanks all the time. When I go to Jamaica, I make sure I bring something for that guy. How much, show him how much I appreciate what he did, because he was the only one that gave me $50. You know what I mean? And I think that I honestly really appreciate that. I'm sure he recognized that by now.
Yeah,
And that is
we continue.
and that is just one of the many stories.
Well, we're trying to get back coach on. His internet is acting up. But in the meantime, I kind of share a little of my story. And I still will have a big question for coach if we get him back on here. So really and truly, for me, I was an athlete, as I said, running at the primary all age school level. And with that, I didn't even think about doing common entrance or anything like that. I was just that person who was saying that, okay, I was going to travel farm road like my father, go into Canada back in the days. And I don't think I had the right, I wouldn't say, but the push that I needed for somebody to tell her, guess what, your education is the most important thing. I was just running like a little kid, giddy head all over the place. And I was surprised. I was in the hills shooting bird. And it's during this time that, you know, I would basically have, I'm more like the coach mentor for Rosal. Send her son in the hills to find me that Mike Ollivierre need your stats, run for stats. That's all you hear, that they were buying people at that time. So, and
Mm-hmm.
Mike Ollivierre, he's a good scout. He will go across the communities, the different school, and he look at the talent and he highlight those talents. Sometimes you're not the smartest, you're not the, but he just realized that, you have something about you. So I did not make it into states basically because of academically, I was a pretty smart kid, bright, but I never take any common entrance. And it was then that I did my states entrance to come there. And I actually passed with a high score. And he called me out. He said, "Come here." He said, "Do you know you came in the school with one of the highest average, and you're talented?" But for my story, my athletic career just finished pretty fast as I went to states at a class three athlete, and there were so many class three who were running some pretty fast time. I was doing 1, 2, and 3, but I was first year class three. He said, "Guess what? While you're here, I'm gonna prepare you. So I'll train with like Preston and Scott running the hills, Santa Cruz, and my brother Wayne Levy. He was just trying to build me for when these guys leave. But then the worst thing that had happened, Dennis, was he said join Baker over by the high jump pit. Because just like how he was putting the other person around till they find themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess with the height that I have, he said, try the high jump. I went over there as class three. I actually jumped the height that Baker was jumping and he was class one. But I didn't have the techniques or anything. So at one point I was going over the bar. Boy, my long foot them hit me straight in the forehead. And people probably want that. Right here is a little cut that still shows. you know. So I got hit there, and my mother said, "That's it for athletics. You done track and field done." Because I end up in Kingston, serious surgery and all those stuff. But despite of that, Olivier still didn't leave me. You know, because I could only pivot by asking to do cricket because my daddy loved cricket, so that's why I did cricket. But Mike Olivier, right through, he would be with me. He'd check on me. He make sure I'm okay. He said, "JB, how the boy doing, JB?" And he still fuel you, even though he knew I was over with the track and field. But through, I have to give thanks to Mike Olivier because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't get to States. I probably would not be sitting here tonight.
Mm.
So, that is just my little part, and my gratitude towards him and so many other people like him who is out there. We need more of Mike Olivier. Sorry that, he's having this internet issue. But Dennis, you know a lot of the stories with him. And, we just have you to continue probably.
Yeah, because I know one of, and I'm sure he will. It better for him to tell the story about Mark Senior, who was one of the first Olympian athlete that he coached. That is also a very beautiful story. It would be best for him to share that story. I mean, every athlete that passed through Stets has some form of stories. I mean, I remember even for me, while I was attending Stets, I had challenges in terms of getting to school from where I was living. Um, so I remember one time I got an opportunity to stay somewhere down. Um, I think I don't know if you call it Goshen. I think it's Goshen, right? In a very big house down there. And I'm telling you, man, I had a bad experience in that house. I had to leave that house. I had to leave that house and end up going down by Stets to stay in the dormitory with those soccer players. I had to stay in that dormitory, and staying in the dormitory, it's not the best place you want to be because of the smell of the sweat, sweat and the dirty shoes and all that type of thing. So I had to navigate my way out of there. And then not only that, but all your gadget could come up missing. You know what I mean? All that type of thing. So I end up leaving and go and stay with some of the guys who were also a part of the track team who live about a mile away from the school. Uh, yeah, that was it was a challenge. It was a challenge, but nevertheless, we pushed through. And if it wasn't for him again, I know that I would not have made it this far. I don't even know what my life would have been like. So I have to say, thanks, Mr. Olivier.
And thanks to so many, so many others, have similar story. I have friends that would, come all the way from St. Mary's. When I go back to see where some of my friends live, I have to ask myself, how Olivier get to find people all the way over here, so, you know.
Hmm.
and, and that's why I asked him about the little bike, Olivier had a little bike. I think that bike was made for hills. Only he probably be able to share that story, him and that little bike, and some of the journey that he put that bike through,
Well, I,
just
I,
to,
I guess I didn't know that bike. I don't think I remember that bike. I remember that small white car.
you asking me a bike, man.
Yeah. So here
Yeah.
another story. So when I was attending Stets, right? Um, Nobody knew that I was hungry, right? Um, I'll go to school, and I guess my demeanor tells everybody that I am okay. But they didn't know that I was hungry. And up to today, Mr. Olivier he hasn't mentioned how he found out. He came to me one day and he called me in the office and he pushed me in the wall and closed the door and said, and give me some quick slap in my stomach and say, man, you mean to tell me all this time? Because when I'm training, I give it my all, right? And he said, you mean all this time you belly empty? You're hungry? And you say nothing. And I hold my head down, and in my thought, all I'm saying, okay, he found out, he's going to do something about it, right? And he did. I remember he invited me down to his house, and he was cooking that morning, cooking some ackee and saltfish for breakfast, and
Wow.
was taking the kids to school, to the prep school, and he said, "You stay here and finish the ackee and saltfish and thing." Um, and then he came to me one day, and I tell this story all the time. You know what I mean? And I need a bigger platform to tell this story. He came to me and he said, "Okay, so the, his family have a restaurant in Santa Cruz," and he said to me, he wants me to go there every day that I'm at Stets. Every single day I'm at Stets, I should go there and have a meal. Didn't cost me a penny. Didn't cost me a penny. I went to that restaurant every day that I'm at Stets, and to the point I kind of get lonely going there by myself. So I started to take two of my friends with me when I go there. Every single day I went there to eat and did not pay a dime. I mean, I'll never forget that, man. You know, that is something I'll never forget. I'll never forget that. Amazing, amazing. Trust me, Mr. Olivier is a father many of us didn't have. Um, and that's why we appreciate him so much, you know.
Coach, I'm not sure if you're there, coach, but if you're there, your camera not on. Are you hearing us, coach? Dennis, I'm gonna give you a minute I'm gonna remove him from the screen, give you a minute to call him and tell him his internet is unstable. So check the internet.
Okay.
All right, guys. So as Dennis would have spoken regarding Mike Mercy Olivier, we definitely see the type of a person he is. You know, he himself also an athlete, and that's a question that I have to ask him when he comes back on, because I've interviewed one of my teammate in terms of cricket who have moved on to the music industry. And he said what people didn't know, that the difficulty he was having just to get to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, to go to school. And he said he would be there in the morning. He have to get a bus back from White House to come to States. But they leave so early, but you have to catch that bus. So when he get to States, he's up by States by 4 o'clock in the morning. So guys, if we think we had struggle going to school, we have people out there who have bigger problem just to get to States. This guy would be out there at least by 4 o'clock in the morning. And what he said is that every morning that he goes, Olivier will be the one who will surprise him. He is coming up at that hour of the morning to do his workout first. So he said before anybody get there, Mike Ollivierre would have already run many laps. Have done his workout. But he was able to see this. So he wasn't just, what we didn't know is that he wasn't just asking students to do this. He was actually doing it himself.
Hmm.
And up to today, if you look at Mike Ollivierre, his physique, you know, he is still able of probably running a marathon right now. You know, and it's the discipline and the commitment that he has to the sports and in terms of empowering youths, especially underprivileged youths. Because
Yes.
I can tell you, yeah, back in the days when I was there at States, some of us we some of us we didn't have it, didn't have all that it takes to get to States. And it's because of the names that he called earlier, Junior Bennett and Mr. Dunswell with himself, and they knew how to work with the principal. No matter which one I principal, Shaka, I spoke about Pottinger back then. But Pottinger I wouldn't know much about. But I know Shaka was a tough one. But
Yeah.
they would find a way to work with these principals to make sure that these youngsters, some of them, as I said, wasn't the brightest mind, but they got them into states and they were able to excel at their athletic career or their track and field or football. And it's because of the togetherness and they seeking out a way to help that particular student. And there's so many of us, who is out there in today's world who is making a good living of ourselves, who have to be very thankful to these individuals who has passed through St. Elizabeth Technical High School and Jamaica to the wider sense, because all of them went on to be a part of some of the Jamaican team. Mr. Dunwell, we know, Jamaica football, and they talk about Jonah Bennett, Jamaica cricket, and they talk about athletics, Mike Ollivierre, traveled a lot of those teams to carry the games to. junior athletics champs, all of those things. But we have to give him up to Mike Ollivierre, even though we're having difficulty with him coming in. We know the weather is not as good. So Dennis, we're back to you again, brother.
Yeah, I'm trying to reach out to him, but it seemed like he's still having some issues.
Yeah,
Um,
it's internet.
yeah, internet is giving some problem there. Again, like I said before, that Mr. Alvier not only was a coach, he was also a mentor. He was like a father. Many of us athletes were lacking in that regard, and he played that role. Um, Mr. Olivier is a man with a lot of with great intuition. Uh, and one I think that I can say about Mr. Olivier is that he has a way of communicating. He has a very good communication skills, and he used that not only with the athlete, not only in other areas such as interviews and stuff like that. But what he would normally do, he would when we do the workout and we're like can hardly breathe. What he would normally do is grab a piece of stick or maybe a baton or a shoes, and he would come to us and ask us questions as if I think and a lot of time we at that time didn't realize what he was doing, but he was preparing us for interviews, possibly at the stadium, maybe when we are competing. I think that's what he was doing. That's what when I look back at it, that's what it turned out to be. That he was preparing us for those moments when we would be interviewed on radio or television. Um, Again, every athlete that passed through Mr. Olivier Hand has their own story, and I believe that's one of the things that I'm trying to encourage him to do is to put all those stories in a book form, um, so that we all can read it and the wider population can read it. Uh, so hopefully we'll be able to convince him to do that. But again, 91 athletic scholarship passed through his hand at Stets. I think that is a great, great achievement. I know he's back in St. Vincent and he's actually doing the same thing there. There are many athletes so far since he has been back that have gotten scholarship and here in the United States, competing and doing very well in their education as well. So
All right, Dennis, since you're on that on the scholarship, would you just tell us how having a scholarship would have helped you personally, Dennis? So through Mike Olivier doing everything, pulling every string that they can, because you say you didn't get through in the beginning, but he stood by you and he made sure you get a scholarship. Tell us, the public, how and what did that do for you getting a scholarship so you could go overseas, actually in America where you are today?
well, I first of all, academically, I wasn't that strong in school. Academically, I wasn't that strong in school. But one other thing about me going to school is that I had like almost perfect attendance. You know what I mean? When I was going to school, I get present. Back then they give present for a lot of different things, and the present that I get was for attendance, and I remember that um, vividly. But academically, I wasn't that strong, so and I think that is one of the main reasons why I ended up going to a junior college as opposed to going straight to a university to sort of prepare me for university. Um, in terms of how it helped me, uh, I would say if I didn't get that opportunity, I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. I probably wouldn't be able to say that I have 2 degrees from university. So him doing what he did really and truly helped me. I'm able to live a better life as opposed to what I probably would have been living if I wasn't been able to achieve a scholarship. Uh, and I want to add that, and that was one of my questions that I was going to ask him is athletes that are leaving for scholarship need to be prepared. Um, I remember going to school when it comes summertime, all the kids are expected to leave the dormitory, but then you have people that are on scholarship from overseas, as far as Africa, and they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the resources to go back home, so they have to stay somewhere, and where are they going to stay? So they have to make provision for us international athletes. I think athletes on a whole need to, when they're leaving, like for example, Jamaica to take up scholarship, they need to be able to be educated about these type of things, what to expect. I think that is one of the things that is lacking. They come to the United States and they get the shock of their life. And I think, Daniel England talk about that Daniel England, when you look at Daniel England, who is a name brand athlete, but then he also wasn't able to even come home for the trials, right? And it's because he was not prepared. He didn't know what to expect when he got the scholarship and come to the United States. And I think many people I'm tired. I'm talking about Daniel England, but Daniel England, I'm sure he's disappointed. I mean, he's disappointed, just like the public who was rallying behind him were disappointed. But again, it is very important that athletes that are taking up scholarship are educated on the do's and don't and what to expect and all that when they come to the United States.
Yeah, I think that play a critical role in an athlete development because, as you said, there's so much things. The cultural shock, in a new place, you don't have the support, you know, and if you don't have the support, chances are you may not do well. The odds is against you. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of Jamaican athletes. I spoke to one particular athlete, and he said when he came here, he didn't came on a full scholarship. And the fact that he wasn't on a full scholarship, that simply mean he had to be working to subsidize the other part of his school fee.
yeah,
And in that sense, when he should be training, actually he's out there working. So
right.
sometimes we wonder what happened to a Jamaican athlete when they go overseas. They face all these challenges and the public is not aware of it, Dennis. The public have no idea of what goes on in an athlete life, as we say, beyond the finish line. We see just the 10-second or the 1 minute, across the 400 meter, and you get to see everybody finish and so forth. But really and truly, what goes on in that athlete life, it can be very challenging just making it to training. It's hectic
Absolutely.
and you would have gone through a lot of that, so you could shed some more light on that.
Oh, absolutely. I remember at Blinn Junior College in Texas. I mean, Blinn Junior College, if you do the research, you'll find out that it was the number one junior college in the world when it comes to track and field. The coach there, he was a very good recruiter. Not only that, but he was really good at his craft, just like Coach Ollivierre. And so at Blinn Junior College, I remember my first day at practice, um, I vomit. He gave us some 600. I think it was some 600, and I think I only did the first one, and I just vomit on the track. I could not even move to get to my room. The guys then finish up the workout, and them have to pick me up from off the track and bring me to my room. Um, s- you know, and then not only that, but I was also placed on probation.
Wow.
No, yes, I was on probation because I left Jamaica running 46 in the 400 meters, um, 47 in the 400 meters, and 46 on relay legs. And when I went to Blinn College, I was not even able to run 50 point. Why? Because there was just like you said, the culture shock. I guess the food itself was not something that I'm used to, and then you have the training. It's a whole different type of training. The whole dynamics change from what I'm used to something different. And um, and so I was placed on probation, but there was two other Jamaican guys that were there that was also placed on probation. So he gave us a challenge that at this meet, if I don't run a certain time, I'm going to lose my scholarship. Now, when you're on scholarship, the negative stigma that goes with that you get a scholarship and you didn't do well and you're sent back home, that was not something that I wanted on my record. So what I did was I had to get up early in the morning. Sorry, I started training twice a day before I get to that track meet. So I get up early in the morning, and again, also the weather, because when I got to Blinn College, I got there in the fall, So it was cold, and I'm not used to the cold coming from a tropical country, island rather. And I didn't used to the cold weather, so, and the smell of the winter, all of that, I mean, all of that just wasn't good for me. And I was able, I
Found my way
was
back.
able, welcome back, coach.
I found my way back. I found my way back. Thank you.
Yeah, I was able to run. He placed me on the medley, and he said that he wants me to run a 48 split. So when I hand off the baton, I did not stop running. I run until I found him, and I said, "What time did it?" He said, "You made it." And from that day on, no team left me. I was on every team from that day on. Yeah. Welcome back, coach. Happy to
Thank you.
have you
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Boy, the electronic thing give me problem, but I'm mastered it. Yeah.
You made it, man. You made it. All
What I
right.
miss?
Guess
What did
what,
I?
Coach? It's
What did
good
I
to have
miss?
you back. You didn't miss much. We just sharing some testimonies while you were away. You know.
Okay, okay.
But what we're gonna have is Dennis to go through a few questions with you. I knew he had some questions prepared, but that simply mean you have to be coming back another time, Coach.
Yes, you're gonna have to come back.
God Almighty. Shoot. Let me hear you.
Um, Whether an athlete, right, wins or loses at champs, there's a bigger picture, right? What's the biggest lesson an athlete learn from champs, whether they win or lose?
Well, remember, say our main objective is not so much winning. It's about getting out of Jamaica. So, like when a person goes there and doesn't win or doesn't do well, you just have to console him and try and let him know that maybe he needs to work a little hard. Maybe he had an injury, depending on what the nature of his performance, dictated. So, I mean, like, as while we would like to win and be victorious, it is about character development, being able to accept disappointments and at the same time successes.
Mhm. Um, I know in 19, I think that was, is it 1989?
Hmm.
We got, is it 1989? We got second at Boys Champs?
That's right.
Yeah. So close.
We came actually second on 5 occasions, but to three different teams. Yeah, man.
So,
And
so out of those five times,
mm,
I believe 89 was the one that hurt the most, right?
90. It was
1990,
it was
right?
ni- it was 90. It's because you see, we had a good chance to win, and we had a decent 4-by-1 class two team that had attitude. We had
Hmm.
a group of guys there with attitude who, and I was saying to them, the way you guys behaving, we are not going to place in this relay. No, of course, we are matching the place. I said, okay, well, good luck. I didn't go and look at the race because it's like this spirit is telling me these guys don't deserve to because they ain't behaving good. They've been winning everywhere, but attitude. So
Hmm.
when I wrong there in the warm up track in the back, Stadium East, I said, don't let it go with the radio there. Listen, I say, and after brilliant starts, set us up well. And then I hear, this is in trouble. I said, well, I just knew because you're supposed to recall those guys. I'm not going to call it there, but they
Yeah,
were
I know.
good guys, brilliant guys, great
Hmm.
talent. But it's like because they're from the rural Jamaica and they beat everybody, it's like, we can't lose. There's little things in life they didn't apply on that day. And we lost. That was a kind of catastrophic year because that's the year when we got some real unfair decisions because we were summoned to a meeting claiming that we had two overage guys. Papa, I don't know anything about it. I had no knowledge of it. However,
Hmm.
at the inquiry, they asked me, how come we have overage boys? I told them, so listen, I'm not really responsible for the system, but you remember you had two overage last year. What happened to them? That was that was the Calabar man. I remember the year when Alfred Williams came fourth in the high jump and they brought a medal for us. So he came to because the Calabar was overage. And then the KC man get up and take me on and tell me, say, we're not talking. I say, you can't talk to me. You send a boy abroad. 13. He not his birthday when he come back, he 14. How come? And then Excelsior tapped me. There were 21 schools. There were 21 schools in there, right? At the inquiry, and 17 of them had overage problem over the last 5 years. And when I roll out the names of them and telling them that, they tell me they meeting over. The Mr.
Mm,
WhatsApp, the Mr. WhatsApp, we say, where you get all that information from, man? Jesus Christ, you mash them up.
mm.
But it was, we got some unfair deals. But I not winning was a little disappointing for us. But man, no, we made the impact we made. Look, you guys are happy, and it's not just you alone. It's more than 91 in some cases. Because remember, those guys who weren't able to get skull immediately, we were kind of any in transit lounge at GC Foster. You there?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Yeah, we're hearing them, man.
Yeah. So we always try to find a way. There's only one guy who watch me and say, Coach, boy, I don't want no scholarship, The man won at Penn Relays 4x8, and he also won the hurdles. So he wanted to stay with his girlfriend and his young kid. But he's still a wonderful guy. Hail up, Angelito Davis.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Coach, and you look, we have another a stats, one of your top athlete back in class three, Mark Blake. But
Mark
while he's
Blake.
here, yeah, he's here on screen. He's saying had all three classes champion. Tell us how
That was it.
important it.
Go ahead.
So the fact that he's on coach, tell us how important it is when you gel that young child coming into states, class three, coming in
Well,
early, class three, class four.
Mark Blake was a special guy, because he had to do a lot of traveling, and then he needed a lot of help in other areas and things. But he was a real caring kind of guy with significant talent. And
Mm-hmm.
the way he worked, he never refused hard work. He was good and great, I would say. Trust me. That year he was the class three champion. Carlos was the
Class
class
two.
two champion, and the great skipper Gary Samuel was the class one champion, and Victor Ladon. We clean everything. We had a little friction that year too, with we came second, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we came well, we came third one year. We came third one year, not that year. And when they were given an award for the top rural school, so when they announced rural school, they say St. Diego. St. Diego. So I went up by this a nice guy, Bailey. He was the captain, right? So he was on the podium. He went to pick up the trophy, and he was a nice, always a nice guy. I said, "Listen, please come down. It don't belong to y'all, right?" And then one confusion. The principal come down, started to make a lot of noise, and Bobby Frey took up the mic and said, "He's correct." Because I said, "How you gonna be playing Manning Cup? You're playing Sunlight in town. How you come
No, you
country to
remember.
crack? How you come country?" So I take him off his stand, and then I think Gary went up to collect another trophy. It's a lot of controversy we had there, Chief. We had a
Yeah.
lot. But the most disgusting one I would recall was with Winthrop Graham. Winthrop Graham clearly won the four hurdles,
Mm.
and he was going for the double four hurdles and flat four. They say he disqualified, and they take all my money. Three protests I had enough. A protest for us he disqualified. So why disqualified? I had to pay money again, $150. He disqualified. The man who could disqualify him wasn't there. He gone for the day. That's Mr. Some Glenn Neil Dwyer. So the next day now I said, okay, I'd like to know why you disqualified. He says a new day, I have to pay money again. But boy, I paid the money. And they tell me say that his left leg went around the seventh hurdle incorrectly. I say I say eight guys running, and you saw
Mm-hmm.
one guy who saw the other seven. Boy, I tell you, say, I lost it that day, now, Chief. I turn over the table in front of the grandstand with all the typewriter, ting, ting, ting. Police come and they take me out of the station. I left there in tears because it was very unfair. Graham made no error. And they disqualified him completely. And then I left there in tears with the words that we will be back.
Mm.
But the next year, Graham walked like a horse. And He broke the record in 4 hurdles, and he also became the first man to have ever won the 4 hurdles on the flat four. I think Edward Clark did it a couple of years after, but it was a rough encounter up there, man. But you guys helped me to weather it, you know.
Yeah, I know um, that you have had a lot of challenges, man. Lots and lots of challenges. Um, and I must say, you're a fighter, man. And I think that's where we got that from, you know.
the the funny thing, right, is that they said I was the most ill-disciplined coach, right? Because I used to have to fight to protect not just our team, all the country team them. But they introduced they introduced a trophy one year. Most disciplined team, right? And you know, say we prepare for that. For 5 years consecutively, we won the most disciplined trophy, but they abandoned it after that.
Oh,
Because we all always well dressed, and every time like it jumps and so shows, they at least have a little gift to give to the person in charge, so they can't forget us. You know? So those little things matter, you know. We were always recognized as disciplined and well dressed, even though they say the coach is a hooligan, you know. Whew.
mhm. So before you came back, we were talking about. I was sharing my experiences about the academics and track in the United States, right? We all know that athletes who take up scholarship abroad have to balance both athletics and academics in order to maintain their scholarship, right?
That's correct.
How do you prepare your athlete to be able to do that
Well,
when
early we would know who would be able to go to D1 schools or who would have to get into college, right? Junior college. So there was always, well, probably some you don't know, but there was a situation where guys who needed help, we got help for them. LDMI was instrumental in getting some of those things done, especially in the case of maths. And, you know, I used to have lessons sometime in my house for those who had, you know, problems with the eyes, you know.
Mhm. Uh,
Man, it was a good experience, man, and I'm so happy that I was able to, you know, help people to get out of their circumstances. Some guys who went on scholarship never come back home. You know.
so
When they're
so I know
go ahead.
that you hear me.
Mhm.
Can you speak on the importance of school programs? I know you're not in Jamaica anymore at this time coaching, but can you speak on the importance of school programs developing Jamaica's future star athletes, right?
Well,
Uh,
the good thing about Jamaica is, and we don't have it in St. Vincent, that in the primary schools there are qualified coaches who take the sport seriously. So by the time they get to secondary schools, they have the basic knowledge, right? One of the negative factors that face me is that to teach PE and to be a successful coach is very, very difficult. So my suggestion is that in a school are trying to make some heights in track and field, they can't afford to have the coach must have access to the classrooms, but they can't afford to have the coach teaching classes, marking the head coach marking exams, and still set up a program. They need also in addition to that, like a feeding program, which we try to introduce at from time to time. That is absolutely necessary because a lot of kids don't have the kind of nutrition that's necessary. And then some teachers were helpful, though some teachers who help us with the academic issues that face us. So it's not just about just the running, because when we identify students who won't be able to qualify for school, it was a terrible worry for me. So at the worst we'd have to do try to find get you into a JC, and it worked out. I can't really say there was anybody who deserved to go who didn't go. You know, and I mean, and I remember that performance is what does it everything. You know, but
mhm.
it's about preparing them to go there and even to face interviews. You know, sometimes you just put a piece of stick in front and say, BBC London, tell me how you feel about that.
Actually, when you were off, I talk about that. whether it's a piece of stick, a
Yeah.
baton, a
Yeah.
shoes, you
They,
know.
there was a particular a guy was recruited. He's from St. Mary, right? Nice guy. Before he came to States, right? I interviewed him at the stadium at the end of the primary school champs. So he was saying, he gave me a rough interview. He said, "Oh, come Stetson. I tell you, I'm going to run out the place and thing." So I stored it, right?
Mm.
When he reached like cast two now and he started to perform and bad boys go around the girls and going out I said, "Come here. If you don't behave yourself, I'm going to tell that girl, I showed the girl the video. Listen, that man behaves so I've never played this for anybody. He behaves so well since then and he's one of boy outstanding. It's a pity I had to leave. When I left, he was just going to class one, and I know he would have been a 40-meter hurdle star. But boy, I had to be there for him in particular. He needed a brother and a father and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
earlier I asked you about how many athletes you have um, impacted at Stets, and you said it was 91, right?
who left Stets?
Which
Yeah, to
and
further the track and field.
correct. Um, and a lot of them had gone on to represent Jamaica.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you as a coach when you really look back at it and the contribution that you have made?
Well, it's not even so much the representing Jamaica is the opportunity to improve their lives. That was the big thing. So I never pressured any of you to say, boy, I want to see make this team. Just go there, pass the exam, and make sure you could feed yourself. That was the major objective. But I felt good to know my guys. When I hear the name on the radio, leaving for scholarship, it's like $1 million I get there. Trust me. Even now, when I have one or two guys leave from time to time here, it's like I achieved something.
Hmm.
And when you guys go there, you guys produce it because at home you are under a lot of pressure to be disciplined and take your work seriously. And you all translated that when you went over this in the US. So it's like I feel like I did achieve something helping people to be better, you know. Not everybody who went out have been appreciative, But that's how life is.
That's
And
all. Yeah.
I've grown accustomed to that.
What do you think separates athletes who make national teams, right, from those who just miss out?
Well, some don't have that commitment like you. You not giving up that is achieved, right? And then you were not one of the early stars, but you bung stars, you lick down stars, and because of the commitment you had, you know. And there were a few like that. Some guys came in sets, they were never ranked, but the commitment, Ian Weekly is I would you could call his name in that year for sure. He
Mm.
just was he tormented himself to get success. Many guys, man. I mean, if I do it, I mean, like, no disrespect to anybody, but the grandmaster of all the athletes at Stets, you understand what I mean by the grandmaster, the boss of all bosses in terms of commitment, love, pioneer, opening doors. Mark St. Aubin Sr. I'm sorry, I have to say that. If
Yeah.
I could pick one human being who inspired me at 5 o'clock in the morning, in the window, go, let's go. He was boy everything. Trust me.
And I think I did mention his name when you were off as well. So tell us a little bit about Mark Senior because I know he was the
Mark was not an ordinary guy. When Mark, I'll give a story that really showed me that he has everything. We were traveling to Kingston about 2 or 3 weeks before champs. And remember the old boss we had that used to labor to go up Spurtree Hill?
yeah.
When they reached by the top of yonder, almost the top of Spurtree, the radiator blew out the burst up right in. Mark was right up there. He didn't even see it. It burned up the whole of Mark's skin, Mark hand, Mark feet. Mark went to the doctor, The doctor said he has to be out of all kind of physical activity for at least 4 weeks. Champs is 3 weeks away. Mark said, Coach, that
Ah, you're on mute.
You unmute, coach. Touch it again. And there you have it, guys. Mike Mercy Olivier just sharing with us some of the story of the yesteryears at St. Elizabeth Technical High School, where he was the head coach in terms of the athletics department. He have influence and he had mentored so many of us, over those years. And so much success stories to be told. As you listen, Dennis, as he share his story. If we had called on Mark Blake, he would have shared his story. If we called Mark Senior, he would have shared his story. But
Hmm.
it goes to show the reach
you
and
there?
how powerful of a man he is.
Yeah,
Hel-
turn your
Yeah, turn it. There
yeah,
Yeah.
you go.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so Mark decided Mark was home in his brief. Every day he got up early, never come school. Walk to the Skellion field until the wound start to heal. When champs come, the doctor still say he can't run. Mark said he might run. I said, okay, Mark, just take your time, just jog out and just get you see you get 5 points, okay for you. For the two races. 3 and 2, don't kill yourself. Mark went out in a boss man and come second in the 400 when he was robbed. He was robbed. He had the
Mm.
fastest time and they put him in lane 1. So he scored more than 5 million. Come on, can win the 200. The man could even put on clothes, could skin burn up. He showed character. He showed leadership. But he was probably the shortest man ever win race at champs. He had everything he had family love. He helped the youth. He even named a hill after him. Mark Senior Hill. I don't know if they use it still.
Okay.
No man, he's the epitome of an athlete for me. You know, and
Hmm.
appreciation. Yeah, man. Plus he was the first athlete, so say he had a real big impact on me.
Right.
But few champions we had, man. Few champions we have had. You guys lived up to expectation. In fact, beyond expectation too.
What are the biggest obstacles Jamaican juniors face when transitioning to the international level?
Support, and that's why some of the people you find they leaving to go to these different birds, if I could put it that way, right? They go into Turkey
Yeah, 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 yeah.
because it's a support system. It's very difficult and impossible to work and be an international athlete. It's not going to work out. People going to beat you, especially in these ages, right? So you're going to find more people looking for that kind of support. You you did well because you never get that kind of support.
Yeah, yeah.
From
Actually, you touch on that topic which we want to kind of explore a little bit. But before we get there, we know that high school athletics is very challenging, right? How do you prepare athletes for the culture shock, right, or the pressure of international competition?
Well, you
How?
see, even those little okay, when you make the national team, you get that kind of exposure. But you see, all like the trips to the Penn Relays and to Miami Classic,
Hmm.
that exposes you to people above your level, and it shows you the route you have to take to succeed. Because a lot of people who never really got that exposure never really got to know what could have happened. We always try to advance the thoughts in terms of interaction beyond school. And we always stay in touch with the coaches. I remember Steve Sylvie called me one time. He said, Coach, you need to talk to the boy. He's not training properly. He doesn't want to go to class. I said, send him home. He said, I'm going to give him another chance. And then the next week he called again. I said, Coach, and he did. That's the only person who faulted up there. But I think he bounced back and did some kind of studies thereafter. But that was the only person who was not able to transition in the way in terms of attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like when a coach calling me, tell me, say, this man, this. I've never had a coach call me, tell me, nobody thief, though, which was
Which
very,
was
very nice to hear because I've got complaints from a lot of other schools.
okay. So there's always talented athletes, right? Fast top athletes that
Everywhere,
yeah
everywhere.
don't make the national team sometimes, right? What do you think contributes to this? Is it the selection? Is it the selection issues, injuries, or maybe the
Well,
pressure?
okay. Look at from the athlete's angle. He didn't win, so maybe you could say he wasn't good enough or preparation wasn't good. But the selection policy, like for Carifta, I never knew that there was a standard that they asked for Carifta because we never thought about standard. We know that for Carifta, finish first and you're certain. If you finish second, you're not certain. Why?
Hmm.
Remember the case of Marlon Tomlinson. He finished a nice second in 8 and a nice second in 15. And I was so disappointed because he was the top man in the country, in my view. They picked the guy who won the 8 and the guy who won the 15. Two different guys, all right? Boy, I was very upset. Very upset. So he came to me one day and I gave him a little discipline, because
Hmm.
he was supposed to be running on the road every morning. He never used to do that. So after our little interaction, he went to Panam. He went to trials to Panam, and he won both of them. Went to the games, got 2 silver medal. You know what the boy tell me? What do you think he tell me? He say, coach, a long time I should have given them discipline thing. Long time. He was a special case, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next
Coach,
question.
this is not a question, coach, but with you didn't just ask the student to do this. You were actually doing it yourself.
Like,
And when I say that is one of our cricketer who had to come to States like 4 o'clock in the morning from White House because that's the only bus he could get because they were giving him a ride. He didn't have the money. But what you didn't know, he was watching you, and he said you would be the first person to come and scare him when he hear those footsteps. It's Mike Ollivierre heading out to the track and field. So you were doing it early morning before the kids get there. He said you were the first person out there. Tell us about your discipline.
no, well, I always used to try to stay fit. I would come out early morning and do my running and go on that little metal stand they had in front of the netball court and try to do maybe as much as 500 abs and so. And I would see who really had that natural desire to train or come out in the morning from the dorm. All the night I would go in the dorm and just take a look at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Never know when coach is gonna turn up.
No, man,
Never
sometimes I
know.
used to go and park my vehicle up Mandeville, take taxi, come down and go through all them betting shop in town and where they play them game and thing and catch some girls. Nah, man, you had a way of making you think that you need to behave properly, right? Coach gone tongue. No coaching gone tongue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So let us jump into you talk about the bird that flies over there in Turkey. Right. There's a growing discussion about the Jamaican professional athletes, right? They're switching allegiance to Turkey. Just give us your view about these athletes who are switching allegiance to
Boy,
come.
I fully understand. I understand the situation because I don't think, especially those athletes who are named, they are in events that have been consistently neglected in Jamaica over the years. I think some guy, Robbins from Calabar, has been one of the pioneer coach in the area. So, and this, as I said, the support may be just for a short period of time and not much. And if these guys don't win big money, they're not going to get any help. So I understand them heading towards what may appear at this point in time as greener pastures. The money that they have, they get into the move, plus the support system, at least let's say for a 4 year period. That's supposed to give enough base to be able to sort out the family thereafter. So I'm definitely not against it, but it's touching sometime, you know.
When you look at it though, because one of the things that people are talking about is the level of loyalty, being patriotic.
That's nice, you know. But as people put it roughly, you can't take the loyalty to the bank. You're loyal to Jamaica and everything, but what can I okay, for example, in our case at States, right? What kind of support we got from outside to be able to produce people to go to Carifta Big Jamaica look consistently good? What kind of support? None, you know. Sometimes we have to go and steal, you could say, steal hurdles and give the men at the store a little change to get a discuss.
Mhm.
So I can understand the support of the athletes on the move up, and when they have attained, there is no help there really. So that is understandable, and it will happen to more. Trust me.
Okay, that's I share that sentiments too. But let us kind of dig in a little bit more. We know that field events is not something that used to be recognized, or we never really have much athletes, maybe one here and one there that make it to the Olympics or the World Championship and do and do well.
You talk
Just
about Jamaica now, right?
right, Jamaica, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
referring to Jamaica, and right now they're sort of, lack of a better word, they are on the verge of doing very well in the field events,
Right. And
but
the
here they are.
peripheral. Yeah.
So you can understand why the country is not too happy about that.
What got them to this improved level? What were the main forces behind it? Is it was an individual or two, or is it a national effort? What stimulated this new level of performance and success? Was there a program implemented by the J3s? Hello?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
Oh, so it's a question you're asking me.
yeah, so who's upset? Who did well for them in the developmental stage to be upset?
Okay, so we know that it's not only coming from those people that are in the realm of sports, but it's also coming from those spectators, like
Right.
people. They're also talking about it.
Listen, it comes back down to okay, let us use your case right now. Who really cares about Dennis Blake? What's cared for Dennis Blake after he stopped competing? Who really cared? You ever get a call from him to find if you're okay? No.
No.
Right. So there are people who didn't even achieve as much as you, who maybe had more talent than you, who never got any help. So you have to understand their case.
Hmm.
That's why you used to have to go tongue most of the time, to beg for money to keep it going. And right now in St. Vincent, I face the same difficulty. I can't save any money. Why? Because I have a lot of good kids who need. I have my camp starts tomorrow. Yeah, I have a 6 week camp that starts tomorrow. And I mean,
All right, coach. Um, I know we have to bring you back, but
Yeah.
what we're gonna do is to ask you. You just talk about your camp. Tell us what is going on now from Mike Ollivierre, what you're doing, and then next week I think are pretty early. Dennis, we have to bring back coach to talk about the issues that surrounding athletics now. Some of the fast speeders we have here, even Julian who just come on the scene and blow it away. We have so much question for you, coach. But right now, let us know what Coach Mike Mercy Olivier is doing. And if you have camping
Mercy
people can reach out
Olivier,
to the camp.
okay, well, I'm on contract with the
and we are
governor of St.
frozen.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. I'm on contract with the governor of St. Vincent and Grenadines, and it's strange that I ask them, what are my work, and directives. My directive is that we wanted to create a stir in track and field. Now I'm starting from the base where didn't have initially parental support. Um, I, I try to work with schools. I get a cold shoulder. I try to work with institution, get cold shoulder. So what I did to create a store, I formed an academy, and I've been funded myself until last month. A company decided to give us a little stipend. So I am in the depth of developing track and field in St. Vincent, and since I've been here, more clubs have come on board. Coaches are coming up because they want to beat the guy. Because some of them, I'm a Vincent, they want to beat the guy from Jamaica, which is nice, right? So my presence here has generated a lot of interest, and then all the mostly top athletes have so far have come from my camp, except the guy called Roban, who I tried to get him to go to States. He was in another camp, but he didn't go. And Shafiq Malone, as you probably know, I ran from GS12. So it's just in a, what do you call it, embryonic stage, right? At the
Mhm.
same time, I am missing my kids in Jamaica. I want to go back over there, but I do not want to be in the high school system. I do, even if I want to coach, but maybe another 2 years I will probably want to wrap up here and get back to my nuclear family.
Mm.
That is is what I'm doing right now. But I'm a comfortable man. I'm happy. I play soccer same way. I'm running on the beach. I'm singing some calypso from time to time, and I'm doing okay. But as I say, I am so grateful for the love that y'all have given me over the years and the appreciation that 99% you have delivered. So thank you. I feel rich talking to you guys.
Yeah, I know. I know we kind of passed the time because normally this would be for an hour. We had some issues earlier. Again, we are going to bring you back because we still have a lot of questions and conversation to be had. Um, so, with that said, we want to take this opportunity to tell you thanks. Personally, I want to say thank you because I know I don't know what my life would have been like if you didn't give me that opportunity. God used you as a conduit to give me that opportunity, and I really appreciate it. And I just want to take this time to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank
As
you for
for
the
as
appreciation.
for me, as for me, coach, I want to say thank you. I too would not know where my life would have been, what it would have been, the journey, what it would have been. But I give God thanks that you actually send out a message to recruit that little one from over there in Rosal, in the hills, in the bushes, and see where I'm at today. I'm here in the US and I'm able to give back to a lot of people because of what you have done for me. Thank
Mhm.
you, coach. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I am really honored. Respect and thanks.
All right, so we'll be in touch to schedule another time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Take care.
you.
All right.
All right.
Wow.